first to our top story today. The UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt unveiled the budget before the Parliament this week, where he insisted that the plan will bring people back to their jobs. He also claims that the UK will avoid recession this year. Well, as per the Chancellor, shortage of workers is obstructing the UK's growth, and that's why he wants more people over 50 years old, people with disabilities and parents of young children as well, to get back to work. Well, meanwhile, Office for Budget's Responsibility says Britons are facing their biggest fall in spending in 70 years, adding that household income will drop by 6% this year and next as well, potentially. It also warned that the UK living standards will struggle to recover to pre-pandemic levels until 2027 now. Meanwhile, Britons fear that the help from the government won't be enough.
People haven't got as much money as they used to have. And things like fruit now, used to be a necessity, it's not anymore. It's sort of get to be a luxury. People are cutting back, they're not buying as much. Everything's a fortune, it's scary. It's still too expensive. Some of these poor old people or someone with a big family, what chance they got? Something's got to give. Something has got to give, it can't go on.
Well, UK's Labour Party leader, Sir Keir Starmer, accused the Conservative Party of turning the UK back into the sick man of Europe. He slammed the government for the stagnant economy and wage growth.
After 13 years of his government, our economy needed major surgery. But like millions across our country, this budget leaves us stuck in the waiting room with only a sticking plaster to hand. A country set on a path of managed decline, falling behind our competitors, the sick man of Europe once again. According to the IMF, the worst performing country in the G7 this year. A prediction today confirmed by the OBR, and growth downgraded in years to come.
Well, UK lawmakers, they discussed and criticised individual points of the budget. But anyway, it did not end in the same fate as the mini-budget announced by the former Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, the one which pushed the UK economy into market turmoil and cut short former Prime Minister Liz Truss's stay at number 10. How can we forget that? Well, joining us for more on the budget and what it means for the British population, we've got Dr. Nigel Fletcher joining us here, a political analyst here in the British capital. Nigel, good to see you.
Good morning.
So what did you make of the budget?
Well, as you were just saying there, I think the comparison is with last autumn's mini-budget from Kwasi Kwarteng, and I think by that standard, I think that the lack of any great fireworks in the announcements yesterday will be counted as a success. I think what Jeremy Hunt was setting out to do was not sort of provide a kind of pre-election boost to the Conservative Party. There's still quite a way to go until the general election. And so I think what he was trying to do was to make the best of a fairly bad economic picture and to provide some stability. And I think in that he succeeded. There wasn't any great sort of rabbit out of the hat, any great surprises in the announcements. A lot of it, I think probably more than we've ever seen, was released before he even stood up. We've seen most of it trailed in the newspapers that morning. I think the last sort of remaining announcement that perhaps might have been a surprise on childcare was actually sort of briefed and announced in the morning. So there really were no surprises, which I wonder whether that was perhaps a deliberate attempt to ensure that the markets weren't spooked by anything in the budget statement, as they certainly were in the mini budget in the autumn. So I think that was really the sort of political aim of the budget, was to provide some stability and to avoid any great shock. And I think in that, Jeremy Hunt seems to have succeeded.
OK, as you say, no real surprises, but arguably that's what the market wanted. They wanted a boring budget, really.
Indeed.
Having read the analysis this morning from the other parties and also from much of the media, a lot of people people criticising the budget for saying that it gives more to the rich. What do you think about that?
Yes, I think this is going to be a problem for the Chancellor. He's just been on the radio this morning on the Today programme on the BBC, being given quite a grilling on that point about whether it is the right priority to be giving effectively a tax cut to those who are able to save over £1 million towards their pension. That is something which I think it will cause him trouble. His defence of that is that it's aimed at NHS doctors. It's a problem that even the Labour Party had highlighted previously. Wes Streeting, the Shadow Health Secretary, had highlighted this very problem of NHS doctors retiring, taking early retirement because they reached the sort of cap on their pension pot. But it is, frankly, a fairly niche problem. I think this is something when we've got households that are struggling with the cost of living, and we've seen analysis from the Resolution Foundation and others on the effect of the lack of wage growth on household incomes combined with inflation and tax rises. So I think when you're looking at the particular problems that have been highlighted on pensions for those with significant incomes, I think that is a political danger for the Chancellor, that this will be seen as something, as Keir Starmer and Labour have been saying, that is the wrong priority at a time when you've got a cost of living crisis for many ordinary families.
He's just desperate, isn't he, Jeremy Hunt, to get people back into work. That seems to be the overriding motivation here. Nigel, thank you very much indeed. That's Dr. Nigel Fletcher there, political analyst here in London.